Hi and welcome back to the Yorkshire Bike Mechanics YouTube channel. My name's Dave Kay and I hope you're all well. If this is your first visit to us, then welcome. I hope you enjoy what we do and I hope and try and make it easy for you to do the things that we do in the workshop here. This is a live workshop. This is how it is. This is how you see it. We do it as we film. We don't rehearse anything. As you can probably tell with the quality of the acting. So, yep. Oh, just before we go on further, yes, it did snow at Easter. I said it would in his last video. We'll probably get snow at Easter, and yes, we did. This video is about a simple thing, to be honest, a simple task that we all have to do. Some find it easy and some find it hard. Some are harder than others, but it's a simple thing like putting a tyre on. You'd think it'd be simple, wouldn't you? But in some cases it's not. So what I thought I'd do is I just thought I'd try and give you show you the technique to get a tyre on your rim a little bit easier. Some tyres are absolutely a nightmare to get on your rim. And you end up hurting your fingers, bending your thumbs, stretching the bead, and it can be really difficult. Some are easier. This particular wheel, when it came in, had a Maxxis, a DH rear on, and so we're going to be putting that back on. We've retaped it, we've made it tubeless again. So all we need to do basically is get this tyre back on. And I'd like to show you a bit of a good technique how to do it. Also, as an added bonus, what we're going to do is we're going to put an insert in this rim as well. The wheel came in with an insert, so we're going to reuse that and put that in after we've got the tyre part way on. I don't know whether you've read up about inserts. Manufacturers claim different things, but generally they claim that they're supposed to give you a little bit of a smoother ride by about 12%. How accurate that is, I don't know. The other thing is they protect your rim from dings by about 50%, allegedly. Also, it gives you additional sidewall stability as well on an existing tubeless tyre. Let's get this wheel in as little jig. You don't have to have one of these. We found it really useful. It just helps because we do so many, to be honest. But you can do it on the floor and you can do it on the bench. It doesn't matter which way around your wheel goes or which way around that you start first. It doesn't matter at all. So what I want to do is, first of all, I just want to show you this particular groove, and you've probably all noticed it. Right in the middle of your rim there's like a groove. And what that groove is for is to enable you to get your tyre on easier. The bead needs to sit in that groove in order for you to get the other side on. So I'll show you what I mean. So we'll stick it in that way. We've got a valve in as well. So once we've got the tyre, like I say, this were on before when it came in. So we just need to make sure it goes on the right way around. So that's that way. Some people prefer the writing next to the writing on the rim. Some people don't. So just in case, I'll put it just next to the writing on the rim. So what I'm basically doing is I'm sitting this tyre on top with a bead in this particular groove. You can see that on top. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to work my way around with my thumb. And I'm just going to pop this bead just one-sided over the rim, making sure that the tyre is all the way around sat in the rim. Making sure that the tyre is actually sat all the way around in that central groove in the middle of the rim. Okay, once you've got it in that groove, you'll find that most cases you'll be able to use your thumbs to actually get that bead over the other side. So we're at that stage now. It's all in the groove. I've made sure that where the valve is, that the bead is at the far side of the groove. Sometimes it just makes it easier once the tyre's on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my palms and my fingers to pull over and push. So you can see that I've got my palms on the bead and I'm pulling and pushing at the same time. And that just really easily drops in that groove. So now we've got this particular tyre in the groove all the way around with the loose side out. I think I'll move this camera actually so you can get a better view from this side. That's it, it gives you a better view this side. So you can see that the one side is on all the way around in that particular groove, and you can see how easy it was to get that that particular bead in there using my hands and my fingers. So now that's in there, what we need to do is we need to put the insert in. So I've got it here and I'll show you what it is. And all it basically is if you remember as a kid, when you used to go to swimming baths, you used to have them, I don't know, them like floats, and they're made like a polystyrene, which is very similar. It's very similar stuff. It's got a harder layer on the outside, but it's actually shaped. See if I can get that shape there. It's actually shaped very similar to the inside of your rim, so it actually drops down. Now these can be a little bit awkward to actually get in, because if you can imagine, once I've put this in here, then I need to get that bead in the centre or near the centre so I can get the tyre on. Very difficult to get on if that bead is not in that particular section of the rim. And this is why these are quite difficult to do. So I'll bob this in here, and if you notice I'm not putting any fluid in yet, because we'll do that at the end. Okay, so what I need to do now is I just need to get that as far in as I can over the rim. Okay, and I'm going to start at the top near the valve. Okay, now if you notice, this particular insert has now blocked access to this particular, so you can get this bead in, and you're probably thinking, oh, what the hell, I'm just going to let my local bike shop do this. This sounds like a nightmare. And I won't blame you, to be honest, it can be quite difficult, but I think it's interesting to show you how it's done. And you can either try it yourself or take it to your local bike shop or take it to us, whichever you want to do. So I'm going to start at the valve hole at the top, and I'm going to get this particular bead and I'm going to just tuck it under there, and then I'm going to lift and fold that tyre under there, under the actual insert, and I'm going to go part way around so it starts to drop in. Can you see? So that's started to drop in there, but you can see I'm having to manipulate it quite hard to actually get it to go in there. So now if you notice that this bead is not actually in the centre, so by the time I get around to this other side, it's going to be really difficult to get in. So what we'll need to do is just work our way around and see how far we get, and try and push this bead further in as we go around. It's always easier to try and finish off not opposite your valve hole. So you try and finish off around about at 3 o'clock to your valve hole. That's the best place to try and finish off. So what we'll do is we'll just work our way around, and we'll just feed this bead under, and what I'm doing is I'm pulling the insert out at the same time away from the rim, and then forcing the bead down the side of the insert and the rim, between the insert and the rim. So now, can you see what we're getting? Now we're getting quite a chunk here that would normally be a lot further up than that, because this section here would normally be in that groove. So what I need to do now is really put some fluid in, so that can be actually working its way around. So with this having an insert in, you could probably get away with putting a little bit less fluid in it. But I'm not gonna put any less fluid in than what I normally would, because I think it's a bit of a false economy. I always think it's probably best to put a little bit more in than what you need. It'll find its way around and it'll work into all those little cracks and crannies in your rim itself. So it's always best to put a little bit more in. So I'm going to put 100 ml in. So I've just poured 100 ml of we use magic milk. We use Nutrac magic milk. That's what we use. And I've just poured 100 ml in there. So what will happen now is it'll find its way all the way around the inside of the tyre, in between the insert and the tyre itself, and hopefully it'll find its way around. So what we need to do now is get this bit that we've poured in back up to the top, okay, or near the top, and we need to grab it with his hands and pull it over like that, and try and fold it over the top, okay, try and push it over that way, and then with his thumb we need to force this bead, try and get it as far in the middle as we can, but at the same time pulling this tyre over. So what's actually happening is, as I'm pulling this tyre over, because I've got tension that way, I'm trying to go that way, when I'm pushing with my thumb this side, the bead's starting to go as far in that slot as it can, and I'm just working my way around. And I can feel that this tyre, can you see this tyre, how it's actually going gradually further up? Still keeping the tension on. So I'm doing that. Keep doing it, and it will go as far in as you can get it into that groove. It won't go all the way in, because obviously there's the insert there. But if you're putting tension on that top there, and pushing with your thumb to get that bead as far in as you can, you'll find that it will go in. Okay, you can see it's starting to go there, and you see how I'm getting it, I'm forcing that in with my thumb, so it needs some more. Now normally, I'll say normally, most of the time I can do this without a tyre lever, but on tyres that are particularly difficult or tight, at this particular point I might need a tyre lever, but I don't use a metal one, I'll use a plastic one. Pedros are the best tyre levers you can get, little plastic ones. They're amazing, they're so strong. So I'm just feeding this in, and we're nearly there now, look. It's quite hard work, to be honest. It's not an easy thing to do. When you've got wheels that you're putting tyres on without inserts, it can be difficult sometimes. But when you've got an insert to put in, it can be an absolute nightmare. But the last thing that you want to do is you don't want to catch that inner tape, that tubeless tape, and that's the reason I don't use metal tyre levers, because you can quite easily catch that tape. Once you've caught that tape and the fluid starts to work its way under, because you've broken the seal, it will gradually go through, and then you'll have to take it all off again. So if I can, I'll try and do it without a lever. It's not always possible, but at the same time I'm pulling with my left hand to try and get that over That's it, we're in. You can see how tricky it is. And my hands are quite aching now, to be honest, trying to get that over there. Just ignore this this fluid here. Well, that'll soon wash off. It's water soluble, so it'll soon wash off. But that's really, we've done 2 videos in one there, really. I've showed you how to put a tyre on, because it's the same technique whether you've got an insert or not. You've got to get beads in that groove. You do that by pulling the top bit over while the valve's about 90 degrees from where you're trying to pull over. And you use your thumb and you feed. As you go around, you keep the pressure on pulling over and you feed it with your thumb. You're probably thinking, what the hell, I'm not doing all that. What a load of rubbish. But anyway, that's how to do it. So what we need to do now is we need to put some air in it. This can be another problem, and all with tubeless tyres, getting air in. You really do need a compressor for tubeless tyres. This one won't be so bad because it's got an insert in and it pushes the beads out. So this one should go up straight forward. So let's put some air in it. And I usually try and get around about 30 or 40 pounds in a tubeless tyre to get that bead out. You can see that the bead's still in at that point. If you can see, I hope it's in focus there. You can see that the bead's still in there at that point. You need to get around about 40, maybe 50 pounds in there just to try and get that bead out so it sits equally around your rim. But also, you also need to be careful to make sure that you've actually got the bead in right. If you put air in there and the bead's not in right, and you get part of it coming out of the side, you will get covered in fluid. You get covered in tubeless fluid, and it's not nice. And it makes a right bang as well. Frightens you to death. So what we'll do is we'll put some more air in, because I don't think we've only got about 20 pound in there. So okay, so we've got about 40 pounds in it. The bead looks nice and even all the way around. Check the other side. That's fine. Okay, so we just need to kind of just spin it a little bit, just to make sure that this the fluid in there just kind of finds its way around in any kind of cracks. I can't hear any leaks, but it's well taped. So yeah, it's difficult. Inserts make it a lot more harder, but the principle's the same for any tyre. You've got to get it in the bead. If you get that in the bead, then you're kind of on the way to doing that, you know, to making it a lot easier for yourself. Another little tip that I'm going to give you just before we go is on tubeless tyres. This is more applicable for wheels that don't have an insert, that's just basically tubeless with no insert in. Sometimes if you've not got on compressing, you've just got a normal track pump, they're very difficult to inflate, and you either have to take it to your local bike shop or buy like a power pump or something like that. But if you have the CO2 cartridges that you keep as an emergency in case you get a puncture when you're out, if you can't get any air in and it won't seat right, then take the core out of the valve. Take the core out of the valve, the centre, put it to one side, and pump it up with a cartridge. Make sure it's sat on right on the the adapter. Make sure it's sat on the valve right with the core out, and just release it all at the same time. And you'll find that if it's a fair size cartridge, you'll find that it'll seat. That's a good tip, is that, and I do that sometimes quite a lot. Even with compressor, we've found it very difficult to seat some tyres. But that's a good trick, it's a good tip. Please subscribe and share. I hope you've understood my accent and enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon. See you later, bye.